Hi everybody and welcome back to LL Sports TV and more specifically another episode of the weekly show Keep It in the Family featuring myself and my lovely niece to my left, Kenya, in the building. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm alright, man. Actually, I was up your ends.
Yeah, my ends.
Man. Up in Milton Keynes for the Reggae Land Festival that I attended yesterday.
Look good, man.
Yeah, good, man. Mavada and
exactly.
Chronics and YG Marley I saw. And a few others. Yeah, it was good, man. Really good, really good. Really good attendance, really nice day. A bit tired, though, because I was on my feet all day long.
It was like raving yesterday.
It was worth it. But tell Mavado he's got to finish off some of them tunes, man.
Yeah, I'm already.
I was a little bit disappointed with the fact that them, man, when they're doing the tunes and the crowd's all hyped up.
Yeah, man. They don't even finish it.
Do a little...
It's like an MC thing, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't come to see the crowd sing your song.
Yeah,
I
came to see
you sing it. But anyway, I don't want to dwell on that. But big up Mavado, it's one of my favourite artists, man. Big up Chronics, who was wicked, bro.
Yeah.
I thought Chronics stole the show.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the subject matter of the day. Today we're going to talk about player power in football. Because over the last couple of weeks, we've seen some examples of players like, how can I put it? Just like... basically pushing the envelope, man.
Yeah, going
doing
on
certain
strike.
things that you know what I mean, going on strike, threatening to go on strike, not turning up for training,
leaving
all sorts.
pre-season tours,
pre-season tours, man, turning up in foreign countries, so he's training with his former team, and even our guy Jokeres, as much as I'm happy to see him here, he doesn't go under the radar either. He carried on with one or two things. So basically, let me start with you. What's your initial thoughts on that whole subject of player power? Because, I mean, let's face it, the balance has shifted somewhat. Back in the day when I was a young man, the clubs held all the power.
Yeah, exactly. The club
I think it's fair to say now that players, it's gone full circle.
Do you know what? I actually kind of agree that players should have some type of power. Because, I don't know, like, if you look at the NBA, imagine you're just playing for... I don't know, you're playing for Cleveland Cavaliers, for example, and they say, you're going to Denver. Like, what? Like, I do actually agree that players should have some type of power. It's up to them. They would potentially be moving country, city, having to learn new language, move their family and that. I do think players should have a level of power, but it should be there should be mutual respect. Because at the end of the day, you signed a contract, so you know what could happen in that maybe 4 years that you signed. That 4 years might not be fulfilled. You might decide you want to go somewhere else, or the club might see it as, actually, you don't play enough, or you've not really been what we thought. We want to try and move you on. That's just business. But I think there should be mutual respect. I think
there's a whole host of things that are wrong with him. I mean, let's look at the specific example of Alexander Isak. So we know that he's had his head turned. And listen, that is not a crime in itself, because he's a great player. You know, I have no issue with him wanting to move. Yeah,
he actually deserves. He actually deserves to play for a team like Liverpool. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He deserves to play. This is no disrespect to Newcastle, but he deserves to play for a team that's going to win something every season, or try and win something.
And he's done well for Newcastle.
And he's done really well. He'd be counted as a legend of Newcastle. He got them their first trophy in 70 years, especially when you think about that Carabao Cup run. Yeah, he scored in the final. Like, you know, he was a big part of that campaign.
He was the campaign, positive force for Newcastle. However, my mum always used to say to me, you know, don't leave on bad terms if you can help it. You know what I mean? And unfortunately for him, some of his actions, I think, have been less than professional. I mean, like I said, he's had his head turned, which is not his fault. But then things like, you know what I mean, not turning up for training.
I don't rate that.
Not being sent home from the pre-season tour. I mean, we were told it was a thigh injury. A lot of us knew that was capped, to be honest.
Yeah, it turns out it wasn't. It was just capped.
It was. And then
apparently
he's supposed to have a thigh injury, yet you turn up at Real Sociedad. I mean, even that, like, why Real Sociedad? I know it's his former club, but to me, that's a little disrespectful, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
think it is.
Is there no gyms and... parks you can run around in?
I just think if you're not going on pre-season tour of Newcastle, surely you train in Newcastle facilities still. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'd maybe just think of it like, right, I'm a bit unsettled, but I still am a part of this club. Let me just at least stay in Newcastle and train at Newcastle. Or, I don't know, St George's Park is pretty far, but, you know, he could... I just think, why go to Real Sociedad? It doesn't make sense. Going over to Spain, it's weird to me. Yeah, I can't lie. Yeah.
And listen, the behaviour is unprofessional.
Yeah, it is.
It's disruptive. It's potentially damaging morale to the rest of the team members. It's like you said earlier, it's disrespectful. Yeah. And let's be honest, man, you're breaking your contract.
You left Real
You're in breach of contract.
Yeah, you're also doing what you did to Real Sociedad. You now basically do to now. All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, like, do you know what I mean? You left Real Sociedad. Do you know what I mean? To join Newcastle, which was a bigger club. Now you want to join Liverpool. That's a bigger club. Fair enough, but like, there's ways to go about it. It actually shocked me because I think we spoke before how we didn't really think Alexander Isak would be someone to force a move. But, I mean, he kind of is right now, isn't it?
Like I said, man, it's wrong on so many levels. Like I said, it's disrespectful to your teammates and to the club. It's disrespectful to the fans and the supporters that have shown him so much support.
And the manager, man. Imagine how Eddie Howe feels. Like, to be honest, hearing Eddie Howe say, "Oh, I knew where he was via the media." Like, you didn't even have the respect to call him up and say, "Look, not gonna lie, I do really want to go Liverpool. I've just decided I'm not gonna train with the team. I'm gonna go." Like, at least show that guy a level, because the amount of respect he's shown him. Yeah. When you think about all the injuries that Alexander Isak's had, he stuck by him completely. Has kept him as his number one guy. Like, do you know what I mean? Even the Newcastle fans, remember that massive. Remember when they did that massive tifo for him in the stands?
Yeah, I do.
Like, I just think, doesn't that fan base and that club deserve more than you just disappearing off the face of the earth just because another big club's come in for you and, you know, flirted with you a bit? You've now all of a sudden don't know how to act. I don't really rate that, to be honest.
It's not very nice, really, is it?
Yeah, I don't rate that.
Yeah, it's just not a good look on his part, man. Yeah. I mean, like I said, he's been such a force for good there. I've enjoyed watching him play for Newcastle, even though we've been on
the other end
at times, you know what I mean? But he's been really good for them.
Yeah.
And to see it end in this way, although I say end, is it though? Because we know that as of filming this show today, he has gone back to train today. That move to Liverpool, by the way, is by no means certain. Yeah. So could he end up staying at Newcastle? And if he does do, has there been irreparable damage done, or do you think the club and the fans, etc., will forgive him?
I think time heals all. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think if he was to come back and like really put his head down, start the season really well, have a good season for Newcastle, although it would potentially be his last, I think people would kind of like know that he's going, but like be like, you know what, you gave us one last good season. I do think he can turn it around. Yeah. Because it's not like he said, right, I'm not coming back, period. Like, I'm not. I think if he said that, then yeah, it's done. But the fact that he's come back, he's apparently going to have a meeting with Eddie Howe and stuff. Maybe there can be some repairing done on that end, but yeah,
I'd be interested to see how that ends up, because it is finely balanced. It's by no means certain it'll go. Exactly. I mean, it looks like he'll go, because I do expect Liverpool to come back in with another offer, even though they said they're not gonna. However, you know, I mean, you just never know in football. Yeah. I do think though that if things can be worked out, then the Newcastle faithful, the fans will forgive him. You know what fans are like.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
They're very forgiving.
They're very forgiving, and at the end of the day, they want what's best for their club.
Exactly.
And if they think that they can get Isak back to the kind of levels that he was before, they will forgive him.
Yeah.
But it will be up to him.
Exactly.
Moving on to a slightly more egregious example of what we've just been talking about, Johan Wissa of Brentford. Now.
Yeah. Sorry, I can't back him on this one at all. I cannot back this at all. I just think the whole thing to me is stupid, right? No offence. Did you know who Johan Wissa was before he joined Brentford?
No, I didn't.
I'd honestly never heard of him, right? You've joined Brentford. You've made a really good name for yourself. You had a fantastic season last season. Again, similar to Alexander Isak's situation where, you know, I think Nottingham Forest put in a bid, Newcastle put in a bid. I think and Spurs obviously are interested in him, right? And I'm like, right, you've got 3 clubs that are interested in you. Like, all of a sudden, I'm going to leave Portugal camp. I'm going to leave Brentford's camp because I'm unsettled. And, like, show a level of professionalism. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean one club, 2 clubs put in a cheeky small amount for you, all of a sudden you're throwing your toys out the pram? I don't rate that. I think...
What about this, though? In the interest of fairness, we should put the other side of the story.
Which is what?
Which is that, according to Johan Wissa, he was given a gentleman's agreement that he could leave for a lower fee this summer. And he's saying, I'm paraphrasing, but this is what I'm picking up. He's saying that Brentford have reneged on that agreement, and because of that, he's going on strike.
Yeah, but if I'm being honest, we've never heard of any talk before these bids were placed. We didn't hear of any talk at all that he was going to leave Brentford. Do you know what I mean?
And plus, that agreement is a gentleman's agreement. If what he's saying is true, if what I'm picking up is correct, he said it's a gentleman's agreement. Now, the last time I checked, a gentleman's agreement is not legally binding. There was nothing in writing. So I
do think if that's actually true, then Brentford have messed him up. But I also think he's leaving next
no, but
summer.
My point is, if I make a gentleman agreement with you about something, if I say to you, on such and such, I'm going to give you such and such money or whatever, and then that day comes, you could be quite right to be upset with me, but you couldn't take me to court over it because there's nothing in writing to suggest that we.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know what I mean? So.
But I just think my thing with Wissa is that we're hearing about this general. I don't personally believe it. I just think. We've never heard once that he wanted to leave. He was perfectly fine at Brentford, happy. Do you know what I mean? It's only obviously Thomas Frank left and Mbeumo left. Him and Mbeumo apparently are best friends. So obviously probably losing your best friend and someone that you play very closely with will massively unsettle you. You've lost your captain as well.
No, let's be honest, right? I do understand. Him again.
He's entitled to want to leave.
Similar to Isak. With no disrespect to Brentford, if Newcastle come knocking, I can well see why.
Yeah, or Spurs.
Johan Wissa or Spurs, whoever it is,
it's a bigger club
teams,
or Forest.
He will look at that project and say, look, that is likely to get me more money, further my profile, and improve me as a player by joining a bigger. Yes,
I think he's older as well.
Yeah, so I absolutely understand why he would want to leave the club. But like I said earlier, there's a way of leaving.
Professionalism.
Be professional. I mean. Not being funny, man, but you were playing in the French leagues in relative obscurity.
Yeah.
You've come to Brentford. Don't get me wrong, you've done well. It's on you. You've performed really well. I've enjoyed watching Wissa as well this season.
Have I.
But come on, man.
I just...
threatening to go on strike and all this type of stuff.
My thing is just like, you know what, right? There's nothing... I'm going to compare it to Eberechi Eze, right? He's linked heavily with Arsenal. He was linked... Both Spurs and Arsenal really wanted him. Now Arsenal are leading in the race. He could turn around to Palace and say, I'm not going back. He just won Palace. Same with Alexander Isak. Palace. He just won Palace their first major trophy. Do you know what I mean? He's Palace legend, essentially. He's one of their best players in that current team, if not the best player they've got, right? He's gone back to pre-season, despite the fact that Arsenal really want him. He's there playing every game. He's there showing so much respect, knowing that actually it's probably likely he's going to leave Palace. But he's done it the right way because he knows actually at the end of the day, I'm a Palace player until I'm not. That's why I just think Wissa and Alexander Isak should be doing the same thing. It's fine for you to be interested and want to move. It's fine for you to be interested in moving to Liverpool, Spurs, whatever it is. But show that club that you're at a level of respect. I just see it as Alexander Isak, especially in my point of view, like we've been hearing Newcastle been trying to offer him a new contract to try and make him the highest paid player. They've obviously shown their love for this guy, even by trying to get him a new contract and stuff, and you just repay them by going to Spain, not even telling anyone.
You know what?
I just
you
don't
mentioned
rate that.
Arsenal there in your in your summarisation of the Eze going to possibly to Arsenal from Palace. That kind of segues nicely into the last example I was going to use on this, because we shouldn't be hypocritical.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain player out there by the name of Victor Gyökeres who also can be accused of being unprofessional and displaying power to his extreme by the way he treated Sporting over the move to Arsenal. What do you say to those people who might accuse us of...
I know it's going to sound mad hypocritical, but I just think, right, Victor Gyökeres could have left 3 windows before. He was promised... They asked him to stay, said, look, we need you to win us, help us win the league again.
Again, was that in writing?
No, I don't know. Probably not. Won them the league, basically, considering that you think about it for years, Benfica have been the one that been running.
True.
I think even the other day they played their version of the Community Shield. Benfica won it, which was like the first time they've won something in a while. And obviously he's just left. He wins that, right, and he says, right, I'm trying to move in the summer. And basically, they kind of just blocked the move. They were just kind of like, right. At first, they were like, right, it's 100 million euros or something, when knowing that no other club is really going to play that much for someone who's 28 years old. And then they were just things like, oh, he needs to drop his he needs to pay us this amount. So like, I just see it as this guy, he gave up like €2 million worth of wages. His agent gave up agent fees. They were still saying, nah, you're not going. Like, do you know what I mean? I think in that instance, they were using...
I'm playing devil's advocate here, but what do you say to those people who say that the club has to act in the best interest of the club? I mean, okay, Jokeris and his agent are acting in their best interest, but the club have also got to act in their best interest. So that deal was done quite late in the day. They didn't have an immediate replacement, and still don't.
No, but they've gotten someone.
Oh, they have now.
So they actually had somebody else that they wanted to buy. I forgot where he's from. They had him, and basically what's so funny is that the other club that they bought him from was saying, yo, you're taking so long this Jokeris thing, we're going to start accepting other offers.
Yeah.
And I just think, and as well, what they were doing, they kept going to Man United saying, put in an offer for him, because they knew Arsenal weren't really going to put up a lot of money. We just said, right, when they were saying €80 million, we said, nah, man, we said £63.5 million, that's as much as we're going. I think, look, do I agree with going on strike? No, I don't. I think he should.
Because Jokeris effectively said that's what he's going to do.
I think he should have went to sporting training, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Once again, like, you think about those fans deserve that? No, I don't think so. You should go. You're a sporting player at the end of the day. You should be going to training. But
does that make you uncomfortable when players do that? So, for example, let's take Jokeris for an example, right? So, he's done that to Sporting. Now,
he could do it
to Arsenal. Beyond the realms that he could leave us on bad terms.
Yeah, it's true.
And the reason why I say that as well is that, and listen, this guy was one of my favourite Arsenal players, Aubameyang. Remember when he came to the club?
Yeah.
He came in a cloud of controversy because he'd fallen out with
Thomas Tuchel,
Yeah.
And Bristol.
And everyone said, oh, don't matter, man. A few years later, we find that Aubameyang, lo and behold, has fallen out with the club. So I guess what I'm saying is...
But then you could say, look at Trossard. Look at Trossard. Look how he fell out with Brighton and De Zerbi, but he's kind of come here and he's not really put a foot wrong. He's been very... Don't get me wrong, Arteta says, he moans that he moans that he doesn't play enough sometimes. But that's not necessarily a negative thing.
No, that's not a bad thing.
And, like, there's a lot of rumours that he could potentially be leaving, but he's not just said, right, I'm not turning up to training.
No, but we don't know, like... That's like... Supposing there's a move out there for him that he really wants.
Well, Bayern Munich apparently are interested.
And supposing Arsenal say, no, that money's not enough, which means that he's languishing at Arsenal, then you might get the players start thinking, right, in order to force the move through, I'm going to stop turning up for training, or I'm going to display certain behaviours that are disruptive.
Yeah.
In other words, act unprofessionally. So... we shouldn't feel that it's just everybody else, and not that I'm
I actually agree.
The point I'm making with this video is that increasingly this is what players are doing, and like I said, the balance of power has shifted dramatically from back in the day. It was the clubs who had all the power, and they still do sometimes. I mean,
they do.
Let's be honest, clubs still do their.
You can flip it the other way. Like, just to be devil's advocate to what you said, you can flip it the other way and say, if the club didn't want Johan Wissa, they'd just get him out. They'd say to him, right, see how Chelsea do it all the time, like they've done to Ream. So you're not playing, you're going to play with under 21s, you've got to find yourself a move. That's it.
Or what clubs do sometimes is they will leak certain things about a player to make him unpopular with the fans.
Yeah, exactly.
To almost force him out. And, you know, you hear, I'm not going to quote names, but there's been players who have come out in the past.
Look at Marcus Rashford. Look how Man United have really treated him. I'm not saying that he's perfect and he's not done bad things whilst being there, but like, that's one of their own. He came up in their academy, and look how they just forced him out, sidelined him, didn't give him any grace compared to some of the other players that Man United have that are nowhere near his level of talent. I think it swings both ways.
It does.
I just personally think, even in the thing of Jokeris, I think if it was me personally, I'm going to training. Like, my teammates as well that I would have played with that season, do they deserve not to see someone as polarising as an Alexander Isak or a Wissa or a Victor Jokeris not turn up to training because they're kind of throwing a tantrum? I don't really agree with that.
I don't like that. It's like I said, it's disrespectful to the club and the supporters. It's damaging to the morale of the team. It's disrespect to your teammates as well. And like I said, it's also, let's be honest, to be absolutely brutal, you are breaching your contract by refusing to play, by refusing to train, by refusing to take part in activities organised for you in terms of training and stuff like that. For you to say, I'm not turning up, and stuff, that you're breaching your contract, so that can never be a good thing. Listen, I do understand the so-called gentlemen's agreements. clubs
get that in writing, man.
Renege on them, but you need to get it in writing.
Yeah. Do you know who's the perfect example of how to leave a club despite the fact they were kind of done over? It's Harry Kane. He had a gentleman's agreement to say, right, I'm going to have this one last season, then I want to go, I think it was Man City and Man United.
Right. Oh,
remember, because remember at first he was linked to Man City. Man City were willing to pay that money. Spurs said, nah, we're not accepting it at all. Then the next, I think after that, Man United came in, he said, right, I want to go. And they absolutely said, despite the fact that they had a gentleman's agreement to let him go, they just said no. He was well within his right. He's a Premier League legend, in my opinion, and he's a Tottenham legend as well, right?
England legend.
He's Tottenham's, in my opinion, best ever player, right? Yeah. I just think he would have been well within his right. Said, fine, I'm not turning up to training. I'm not playing any more games. You have to sell me. But he just said, you know what? The level of love that I have for the fans, for my teammates, for myself as a professional, let me just see out my contract. Just saw it out, got sold to Bayern Munich. He's been able to go and win the league and stuff like that. And I think the way he dealt with it was so professional. And considering that as well, how old he is, he doesn't really have time on his side. I think that's what players should look at. Someone like that who was just ultimately professional, and now he's kind of left as the winner because those fans... still respect and love him. I think they would anyways, but they still love and respect him. He left on a good note. He left with like Spurs fans' blessings. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like I think at this moment in time, obviously Johan Wissa, Alexander Isak, they wouldn't really leave with. They wouldn't leave with the blessings.
No.
You know
and
what
even Joker, I don't think if he went back to Sporting. So he played
one of my friends is a Sporting fan. League. Yeah.
What did she say?
She was like, yeah, it's really bad how he left. She was like, oh, it's left on a sour note. She said he's still. She said that she regards him as a legend, but he left on a sour note, so it's like a tainted legend, tainted at the end. So I was like, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
So there you have it, people. That's our thoughts on it. Player power, is it going too far? I mean, we're seeing players now openly coming out and saying they're effectively going on strike.
Yeah,
something that never sits well with me. I mean, listen, if the club have broken their end of the contract,
then maybe
there are ways you can deal with that. I think to just throw your toys out the pram and say, I'm not playing, I'm not training, I'm effectively on strike is not a good look.
Yeah.
The aesthetics of it look terrible, certainly to fans. There may be ins and outs going on behind the scenes, but it's not a good look. But let us know what you think, man. You've heard what we've had to say. What do you guys think? There is always two sides, maybe even three sides to a story. Let us know what you think. But Kenya, thanks so much for sharing your erudite opinions on that matter. And I look forward to hearing what you guys say. Thanks also for watching the show. Big up yourselves. If you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. We're out.